Okay, so what about from the kids' perspective? I mean, when they're not when they're not able to see dad for Thanksgiving, and yet here they are. You talked about your Catholic faith, and I'm assuming you raised your children Catholic as well. And here they are giving thanks for who knows what, but yet they don't even have their dad home to give thanks. Did have any of them express that confusion to you?
Oh yeah. So I think we're seeing those phases of kind of processing all of this just play out in real time now. There's the initial phase of, hey, everybody just don't say anything bad around dad because he's finally here. So let's not say anything to scare him off again. And then I'm assuming what's coming is hey, you know what? That wasn't cool. Like how did you pick the Army over us all those times? And starting to get there with one of them. Actually, one of the four has already started to go there, and it's actually been a very healthy conversation. It hasn't been contentious or anything, but she has definitely expressed like, hey, that math is not working out in my head yet. Like how you chose that over us. And she no less committed, understands, to the extent she can of why it was necessary. But that conversation is still playing out, and I welcome it. I mean, there's going to be a lot of those things coming my way. I've got a lot of personal things to unpack over that many years, whatnot. That again, at the end of the day, you got to keep talking. You got to just keep vocalizing it and acknowledging those moments. Hey, that moment sucked. There's no way to dice it. There's no lipstick you can put on that pig. That thing, it just sucked. And we just have to acknowledge it. Okay, so now what are we going to do about it? And then you have to figure out a way forward.
But you know what? I've been drilling down on that part, Jeff. But if I kind of go back to the Travis Mannion attitude. If not me, then who? And yeah, it's difficult. I know it is. I mean, I was never married while deployed. I was never in the situation that you were in, but God, I feel like I know it upside down and backwards. I'm asking a lot of really, pointed questions, but at the end of the day, it's got to be done. And, I think as resentful as families can be, getting them to understand, hey, we all have our chosen lots in life, and some of it's fair and some of it's not. Mm-hmm. And that's really, when someone says to me, thank you for your service, when someone says to me, man, that's got to be a tough life. You know what? Why don't you go ask somebody about that?
Yeah.
Because it might actually motivate you to do a little bit more than say thank you. And there's not, that's not intended to be a dig at anyone. But, it's kind of like, I asked a friend of mine, what do you say to somebody when they say, God, I wish I would have done this or that? Yeah. And he always says, it's this simple, these words, there's still time, so, I didn't necessarily mean to get on that soapbox, but I can see where there be some challenges, but you know what? I applaud you. I applaud your family. Y'all did things for this country as a family that some people, just, you don't understand the sacrifice until it's way behind you. And it sounds like that's where the kids are getting to.
They are, and look, they haven't been shy about telling me how many birthdays. Every one of them can tell you a running count of how many birthdays were missed and these various holidays. And they have a better memory of a lot of these things. God bless my wife. She was really, really great, is great about making lemonade out of some serious lemon situations. And so she found ways to include, we got pictures of a doll dressed up in my clothes with a balloon head and whatnot, and a drink in his hand that she made or whatever, because they were all having a big family celebration and they were missing me. And so they made a doll, and that was the joke. So they would come over occasionally in the night and, and toast with Jeff, to whatever they were doing. And it just finding any way they could to try to include you and try to just honor what it was that you were missing. And they knew why. I mean, she comes from a long line of service herself. Her dad had 30 something years of service in the Air Force. So in many ways, she had a longer active duty tour than I did, because her dad was still on active duty when we got married. And so my retirement was actually the first day of her life that she was not, actually connected to the active service. And
wow.
Yeah, so unbelievable contributions there as a
wow.
Jeff,
that's crazy. Hold on. I gotta dig into that for a minute, because
it hit me too.
So you're saying she was born, her dad was on active duty. He was on active duty until the day that you guys got married. You were on active duty at that point. And so, she's, certainly in her 40s at this point, not that I want to dime your wife's age out or anything. So she's had a
32,
longer,
32.
easy. So she's had a longer active duty stint than both you and her father.
Yeah.
That is amazing.